Hello and welcome back to my channel. Yes, it's Thursday. I had no message until today. And so my video today is Brighter Days Are Ahead by the Galactic Federation of Light. So, first, I want to thank you for joining my channel, for subscribing, for commenting, and for sharing. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone's doing well. There's so much going on right now. I'm sure you all can feel the change. This morning when I woke up, I just felt so full of love. When you disconnect from the world that you see and go into your own world of reality, then you feel amazing. So I want to share the poem first. This is a message that I received, and it's also called Brighter Days Ahead. Love has no boundaries. It's spread to each one of you, awakening you daily to a new point of view. All the planets are aligned, which will connect you even more to the divine, where new thoughts will expand, walking out of your daily plans. Finally seeing your realities, erasing your memories from before, as you begin to see and feel more once more. Feeling angry, feeling confused, but this will pass. These feelings will not last. As very soon you will see your true path is heavenly. My advice to you is to say inside of you. Connect with your guides for the answers too, as they have your back and been waiting for you. Learn to go within for your guidance to begin. As you begin to learn, it's where your head should turn. Within, not without. This is what your lives have always been about. No one knows you better than your higher self. In fact, you can write them a letter explaining everything you need. Ask first to receive. This is the beginning of your newly awakened journey. Before you know, the truth will be exposed, creating a whirlwind for many. Must be ready. Knowing deep within, major changes will then begin. Then you too will see we will never go back to slavery, but instead we will be finally free. Believe, trust, receive, and most importantly, breathe. I know we've been promised the truth will be exposed before the election. And I personally thought it would happen already, but it's still promised. So we are in a position, especially right now, that you have to trust. And it can't come from assumptions. I assumed I wouldn't have a video on Tuesday because we were going to have the truth. And then Wednesday. And it's still not here. But it's 4 days still left. And so I'm staying positive. Especially the planets are also lined up. And Uranus is the planet of instant change, which will be affecting this world during the full moon and a little bit beforehand. Uranus is a planet that works like lightning. So it's like you could be walking around ignoring or whatever you want to do, and then Uranus hits your chart and bam, things just change just like that. That's what I mean. So when you least expect it, It will happen. Now, do you know when divine timing is? No. Do I know when divine timing is? No. Does anyone know? Nobody knows when the time is correct. And so this is why you need to trust it. The Star Nation will give the signal to President Trump, and when he receives the signal, that is when the truth will be exposed. So until then, get your house in order, because like I said, the election's in 4 days. Take some cash out from your bank, put food in your house, at least 2 weeks worth, and know that everything is about to change. The media will also change, and it will go from fake news to truth, finally. All competitive sports will be gone. In fact, anything to do with competition will be gone, because all competition does is separate you. We have been put on this planet to be one, to know that we are one, and the cabal has done whatever it could to separate everyone and put us all on that path, deeply on that path. So this is why a lot of new things are difficult for you, because it's new for you, even though it's who you really are, if that makes any sense. So, like, anything that puts anyone in a situation where they are deemed better than someone else is going to end, because nobody is better, because that would say that I'm better than me, because I'm the only person here and I'm not going to compete with myself. So receiving awards and plaques and, you know, earning money for a job well done, this is all part of competition. You know, and I used to work in a company, I will not mention names, because it's very well known, but they took their employees and always had them compete who was better. Little did anyone know that the same person kept winning because that same person was the pet of the office or the management company. So nothing is real. None of that is real. So this is not reality. And we are going into reality, which you already know. So you got to dig it out. You will begin to learn how we are not conspiracy theorists, but always truth speakers. And fear that held on to you very tight has to be let go. So anything you currently fear is, think about it, it's been implanted in you. So you have to overcome it. You must heal yourself to raise up your frequency. We've crossed over into new timelines, and it's a different feeling, and it kind of, it feels good, but you just feel out of sorts, like, I don't know, like you're not in your body, or you're a walking zombie, or, you know, you're having sleep issues, lots of more body aches and pains, but we're all being rearranged. You have to, like, forget the programs you've been fed, because they've all been laced with fear and dread. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And we've all gone through our lives in fear. And we were taught fear at a very, very early age. Some of you with young children wonder why your young children are fearful. Do you have them watch Disney cartoons? Do you know there's so much subliminal fear-based messages in every cartoon and child movie that you show your child to? That makes sense. But everything is laced with fear and subliminal messages. So this is why your little ones are afraid of things, because they too have been attacked by so-called children's movies, children's shows, to keep them occupied. So you want to give them, maybe reading lessons if they're very young, but not these Disney things, because all Disney is run by the cabal, and all their programs are laced with subliminal, poisonous, fear-based messages. You need to cut the ties of all of those who do not uplift you, and release guilt, and understand how being positive uplifts you. So you need to rearrange your life in a sense where the first thing you do is you wake up and you're grateful. If you have to write down a bunch of positive memes to read to yourself, then do that. You need to get into the practice of speaking to yourself and only asking your guidance instead of constantly going outside of yourself, because there's no one outside of you who can help you any more than you can help yourself. Now, after this all passes, a lot of people will need guidance. That's true. But in the meantime, for right now, you might not be able to get that guidance. You might be a newly awakened person, completely lost and confused, angry, and feeling full of guilt, which you need to get rid of that right away, because you awoke on your time frame, and everything happens for a reason, and everything happens in divine timing. So realize that and learn and practice going within. If you have a question, ask your guides. If you need something taken care of, write a letter to your angels and then burn it, because that shows them that you trust. And whenever you ask for anything, you have to stop worrying if it will happen, if it will come, because then you offer up the law of resistance and it won't come. So you ask, within your heart it's going to show up, and then you have to completely forget about it to the point that you forgot that you even asked. You understand that everything comes from within. So you can't love anyone until you love yourself first. No one can love you any more than you love yourself. So when you don't love yourself, you attract lessons. You attract challenges. Remember, people who challenge you are showing you your shadow self. If you don't know your shadow self, what that means, your shadow is what you are not aware of about yourself, because it's easier for us to look at other people and see their faults, but do you take the time to look at yours? And sometimes it might be difficult because you're not even aware of what you do. This is why other people come and you look at it as rudeness or mistreatment when it's actually a challenge to show you what you need to change about yourself. Because Everything comes from you. So who do you heal? You heal yourself first. You can't help other people if you're fractured. You can't help other people if you're fearful. You can't help anybody until you help yourself first. And you can go out and try to help people and think you're doing something grand, but you're just spreading negative energy to them without even realizing it. So you're not doing anyone any favors. And you need to really and truly own this and really understand this. Because this is how you will remember who you really are. And you also, if you're newly awakened and not familiar with the universal laws, you totally need to go on YouTube today, because who knows, it could be shut down tomorrow. We don't know. As soon as possible, and learn the universal laws. So you can see a lot of your heartache has to do with universal laws that you have not followed and that you've used against yourself. Now, it's not your fault. We were taught that through various modalities. Religion being the number one. Religious dogmas are so full of fear. They don't come from God. And people hold on tight to that belief system. Like, they still believe that they're going to be judged when they transition off the planet, and that they have to do God's bidding. If you want to do God's bidding, love yourself. Be loving and kind to everyone else. Be compassionate. This is how you erase negativity and how you live in Christ consciousness. Not Jesus is coming back to the planet. No. Consciousness. He's all about love and unconditional love. He's not your savior. Nobody came here to save you. You didn't come here to be saved. If you think you came here to be saved, then you made a mistake of coming here, because that wasn't the plan for you. You have to be strong and powerful and know your gifts and understand what you can do. You're all pieces of a puzzle. You came here to awaken, to know the truth, to remember the truth of who you are. You came here to grow from previous incarnations, to raise your frequency, to never have to, originally to never have to come back to Earth. That was always the plan, is you raise your frequency, you release your karma, and you don't come back here. But that didn't happen. So, and now actually what's going on is we will come to high frequency Earth. This is a whole brand new situation. This has never, ever, ever, ever happened before. This is why we're going through releasing our past, releasing this life, and memories gone. You don't need to have a memory, because memory ties you up to the past. I forgot again, sorry. Memories tie you to the past, and you don't want to go to the past. You want to stay in the future, or I'm not in the future, in the present moment. So I could like sit down and have this whole thought, and it's deep thought, and then 2 seconds later, I have no clue what that thought was. Don't even remember. I can't pull it out, so I just forget about it. So it's always being in the present moment, because everything happens for a reason. Everything comes in divine timing, and like I mentioned before, you don't know when divine timing is. And think about it. We live in a vast world with billions and billions of people who all need to ascend to high dimensional, high frequency Earth. So, in all these different timelines, and remembering who we are. And you've got to know the truth first before this can happen for a lot of you. Because, you know, the light workers came here to spread the light, to build this planet up, to remind you, to help you, to guide you. And you want to do yourself a favor and completely shut out the matrix. Because from right now until the truth comes out, you're in the matrix, which you're not living any reality. You can worry about everything and you don't do yourself any service. You might gain an ulcer from it. You know, you might get gray hair from it. You might get stomach problems from it. You need to come to the point where you remember that you are not human, that you are one, that you are your own creator, that God is only creator source energy, not someone who stands at some pearly gates and judges you and decides if you're going to go to heaven or hell, seeing that heaven and hell doesn't even exist. And heaven, as you know it, or as you think you know it, is coming to earth. That's what ascension is all about. And I can't even begin to tell you how it's going to be crazy. It's going to be absolutely crazy. So do yourselves a favor and right now go work on yourself, shut out the matrix, live in your own world of fantasy because you might feel off balanced. You got to be in the present moment only. Say affirmations. Ask to receive. If the internet shuts down, you're not going to be able to read other people's channels. You might not even be able to go to my channel, my YouTube channel, or anyone else's. So then what are you going to do? You're going to be forced to ask your higher self, to have a relationship with your higher self. I mean, just to let you know, like, I don't know, 4 days ago, I was angry. I had an anger day. I was mad because I thought the truth would already be out and maybe it's never going to come out and nothing's ever going to change. I mean, it's very easy to go down that path. And when I do that, I talk to them loudly and let them know how I feel. And 3 days later, they gave me a very powerful, strong message that the truth is definitely coming out before the election, and just hang on and live in the present moment. Stay away from this current life. Stay away from lawyers and politicians and news and all of that. You don't need to turn on the news and find out what's going on that's laced with negative energy and full of lies. The news and the internet has you believing that it's business as usual. You know, sportscasters still go on, you know, about new coaches and who's going to get fired and, you know, the Super Bowl and yada, 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 which is never going to happen. And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Because in the bigger picture, you're not a slave. If you think you're free, you got to get your head examined. You're not free. You've never been free. If you were free, you could walk into a store without a mask and go, I don't believe that and I'm not wearing one. Would that happen? No. Why? Because you've got a lot of robotic puppets that live on this planet. And if the government, the politicians tell you to jump, they ask you how high you should jump. I mean, I had a conversation with a lady in who works at a store, and was telling me she worked in a food store. Now, in this particular store, I won't mention any names, the I don't know, the beauty products, the hand lotions, the body soaps, all of that is separate in a different place because so many people steal it that they had to like lock it into a separate place and have a cashier. So you can't put everything in your cart and buy it all at one time. You have to buy it separate. And she was telling me how people get mad at her because she doesn't have gloves on to ring up like a package of maybe a box of cotton or lipstick or, any of that stuff. And she's like scratching her head and going, well, when you go shop in the vegetable department, don't you touch the vegetables with your hands? Don't you pick up certain items and squeeze them or see if they're ripe enough for you to take home? All of a sudden, why are we not wearing gloves when we go to the store? Why isn't that mandatory? I mean, you have to really think about the phoniness of these masks and the 6 feet. Because if the mask works, why do you need to be 6 feet away from someone? If 6 feet away from someone works, why do you even need a mask? I mean, I've mentioned this before. You got to see that if you focus on the news and look outside and only see the people and listen and live in the fear of danger, which isn't real because you bring it to you if you fear it. Remember, whatever you focus on is what you draw to you. That's it. This is why you need to learn the universal laws, because the religious laws are pure lies. And most people roam planet Earth with religious dogma like glued to their brain about how it is. A lot of people might get mad when I say that, but when the truth comes out, you will learn about it. So, whatever. We are going into, I will remind you, no taxes, no illness, no aging, no pharmacy, no drugs, no poison, but clean air, clean water, clean soil to plant your vegetables in. Free, I don't want to say electricity because we won't need electricity. I mean, everything will be set up where we don't have to pay someone to have something because that was all a plan by the Matrix, by the cabal. Do you know what I'm saying? So everything about you is going to change. So get used to it now by being positive, focusing on fantasy, visualizing how you want your future to look, creating it, drawing it, being creative, writing poetry, listening to music, singing songs, walking in nature, taking photos of the sun and the trees and the plants, walking around searching for elementals to talk with. That's reality. Nothing else is. Anyway, I'm going to tell you right now, 100% positively for sure, next Tuesday is election day. I doubt I will be on here, but one never knows. We don't know. So in the meantime, breathe, stay positive, practice only asking your higher self and your guides for all your questions that you need answered, and live in the present moment. And, well, you all have a blessed day, blessed week, and I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for joining. Bye.